In this video, I'm going to be teaching how to make this maxi denim tube dress. If you are interested in it, kindly watch till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and share my videos. So I'm going to be using this denim fabric, which is stretchy at one side. So we are going to be using the stretchy side on the body. I'm going to be needing my bust measurements, my waist, hip, shoulder to waist, waist to hip, nipple to nipple, dress length, and other measurements I'll be adding later. So I'm going to be dividing the bust, waist, and hip by 4, the nipple to nipple by 2. So from this point, I'm going to be marking 1 inch down to serve as a borderline to enable me begin my work. So after marking it down, I'm going to be marking my shoulder to bust measurement. So from the shoulder, that line, I'm going to be marking 9 inches down. So you measure your shoulder to bust, whatever you get, you mark it down and then connect with your ruler. After connecting with my ruler, I'm going to be working on the shoulder to waist measurement. My shoulder to waist measurement is 16. So from the shoulder line, I'm marking 16 inches down, then connect with my ruler to get a straight line. Now after getting the shoulder to waist, we are going to be marking the waist to hip measurement. So from the waistline, I'm going to be marking 9 inches down, which is my waist to hip measurement. After marking that, I'm going to be making another straight line at that part, just like that. So after that, I'm going to be labeling it. This is the shoulder, this is the bust, that's the waist, and then the hip measurement. We are now going to be working at the hem. So I folded some parts on to enable you to see the end. Since it's a maxi dress, it is very long. At this point, I have my shoulder, bust, waist, and then hip measurements plus the length of the dress. So when you get to the hem, you can decide to leave it like that or add 2 inches to it for folding. You can either fray it or fold it in. Now I'm going to be working on the shoulder. My shoulder is 14 inches. I'm going to be dividing the shoulder into 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. So from the center front, I'm going to be marking 7 inches in. From there, I'm going to be marking 3 inches in from the center front. And from that point, I'm going to be going down by 3 inches again to create a neckline. So after marking, just connect with your French curve or whatever curve you use. Now from that 7 inches point for the shoulder, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch and then connect from the neckline through to that point to get the shoulder slant. Now on the bust line, I'm going to be coming in by 7 inches again. That is the shoulder measurement, and then I'm going to be connecting from the bust line to the shoulder line. Now I'm going to be dividing that line into 2 minus the 1 inch slant. So I had 8 inches and I'm going to be dividing it by 2, which is 4, and then go in by ½ inch. That is the ½ inch over there. So from there, I'm going to be connecting from the shoulder through to the bust line to get my armhole curve. At this point, I'm going to be putting in my bust, waist, and hip measurements since I'm done with the front. So divide your bust by 4. Whatever you get, you insert it on the bust line. Divide your waist by 4. Whatever you get, you mark it down, and then your hip by 4. Whatever you get, you mark it down as well. After that, I'm going to be connecting with my ruler from the bust to waist and then the waist to hip measurements. Now I'm going to be working on the hem of the dress. So I'll be pulling this up since the dress is long to enable me work on the hem. So I'm just going to fold it on like this and then reduce about 3 or 2 inches from the hip measurement. 3 or 2 inches from the hip measurement. Whatever you get, you mark it down. So if your hip is 40, you're going to be marking 38 or 37 divided by 4 at the hem of the dress. So I went ahead to connect with my ruler after marking. Then I'm going to reshape that part since it's a bit straight. At this point, I'm going to be working on the neckline. So at the center front, I'm going to be at the bust point, I'm going to be going up by 3.5 inches. You can make it 4 or 5 inches depending on how much skin you want to reveal at the neckline. So I'm maintaining 3.5 inches. Like I said, you can make it 4 or 5 inches, whatever works for you. You go ahead and then mark it. So from there, I went ahead to connect with my ruler to get my new neckline. Now I'm going to be extending that line up to the new neckline, just like this. So at that point, you are going to be measuring around your chest, all round. Whatever you get, you are going to divide it by 4. Mine is about 33 inches. So you are going to divide it by 4. Whatever you get, then you mark it down to make that part tight when you wear it. So after marking, I'm going to be connecting from the bust line through to the new neckline. After that, I'm going to be putting seam allowance of 1 inch all round. Note, if your fabric is very stretchy, there is no need to add seam allowance to it, because since it's stretchy, after sewing, it will fit you perfectly well. So you check the nature of your fabric before adding seam allowance. If it is very stretchy, there is no need to add seam allowance to it. So at the new neckline, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch sewing allowance to it. After that, I'll go ahead and then connect with my ruler. Then from there, I'll be working on the dart. So if your fabric is very stretchy, there is no need to add a dart to it, but then I've decided to add a dart to this to give it an extra fit. So I'm going to be dividing my nipple to nipple, which is 7 by 2, and I got 3.5. So from the center front, I'm going to mark 3.5 on the bust, waist, and then hip line, and then connect with my ruler. The size of this dart is going to be 1 inch. So the front dart starts 1 inch below the bust point, then end 2 inches above the hip line. So I'm going to be marking 1 inch below the bust point and then 2 inches above the hip line. Then the size of my dart, like I said, is 1 inch. So at the center line, I'm going to be dividing 1 inch into 2 and then distribute it on both sides. So 1/2 inch on both sides. After that, connect with your ruler. Yes, so this is how the dart is supposed to be. After drawing in the dart, the front part of the dress is ready. But then I have to add the dart allowance to the waist. So the size of the dart is 1 inch. I'm going to be putting that 1 inch on the waistline to replace the dart. So after that, I'm going to be connecting from the bust line to the waistline and then from the waistline to the hip line. After sewing, that dart will be out or will not be part of the dress. So at this point, I'm done with the front. Then I'll go ahead and then cut out and then work on the back of the dress. I'm going to fold another fabric into two, just like I did for this one. Then I'm going to be placing this on top of it in order to cut out the back. But before placing it on, I'm going to be marking 1 inch in from the center back to create my zip line and then the slit for the back of the dress. So I'm marking 1 inch down to the hem of the dress and then connect with my ruler. So after marking this, I'm going to be placing the front on it just like this, just behind the zip extension, or just on the line for the zip extension. So after that, I'm going to be tracing it out or cutting out. So I'm cutting out the exact thing I did for the front. After cutting out, I'm going to be cutting out a facing for both front and back. So just place your piece of fabric under it and then trace the shape of the neckline. So you can use about 2.5 inches to 3 inches for the facing. You can see mine is almost 3 inches. So I'm going to be using that, and after that I'm going to be tracing it onto the piece of fabric before cutting out. So we are doing this for both front and back, and we are going to be dividing the back into two since there's going to be a zipper at the back of the dress. So just divide the facing into two and then go ahead and divide the back of the dress into two as well. For the front, we are not cutting it into two, it is one piece. So this is how it's going to look like. At this point, I'm going to be putting the facing on it and then stitch about 1/2 inch in. I was supposed to draw in the dots and then stitch before this process, but then it skipped me. So from this point, after sewing, I'm going to be teaching you how to copy the dots. So I just folded my fabrics into two as it was before cutting out. So after placing it on like this, I'm going to be punching pins inside. So at this point, and then at the waist lines, and then at the hip. But then for the bust, you know the back that starts exactly on the bust line. So I've punched a pin at the bust point, and then the one down is for the front. So all you have to do is to raise the fabric and then copy it at the other side with your chalk or marker, whatever you are using to work. So you're marking at every point there's supposed to be a dot. You can also go ahead and then use your tracing wheel to draw the dots onto the other fabric. So after tracing out, I'm going to be drawing in the dots with the help of my ruler. So just take your time like I'm doing, then mark every point that is supposed to be a dot. So from there, I'll go ahead and then connect with my ruler to get my dot. Like I said, this was supposed to be done before fixing the facing, but then there's nothing wrong if you do it this way as well. You just take extra time. So after that, I'm going to be cutting or deducting 1 inch from the length of the back of the dress. So I'm going to be cutting it out, and then when you are sewing it, you just have to pull it together with the front, and then everything will be okay, or the length will be back to normal. You can decide to reduce the neckline for the back too as well, or you can decide to maintain it. Reducing it reduce folds at the back of the dress. So at this point, I'm going to be sewing in my dots Then after sewing the darts, I'm going to be joining the side of the dress also. Remember we added 1-inch seam allowance to the to the side of the dress. So after joining the darts, I'll go ahead and then sew that 1 inch I added at the side seam as well. So yeah, what you have to do is to pin the facings together at the seams. Make sure the seams are together before you pin any other part of the dress, and then stitch your 1 inch or whatever seam allowance you added. So this is it. I went ahead to stitch the darts and then the side of the dress as well. From there, I'm going to be working at the center back of the dress. Now take your zip, and then whatever length your zip is, you make sure you mark it before you join that lower part, and then make sure you measure the length of the slit you want for the back as well before you stitch. So I went ahead to stitch that point. You can see this part is for the zip extension. So all you have to do is to fold 1 inch in. You can decide to fold it like this before fixing your zipper. So you're going to be folding 1 inch in at the upper part for the zip, and then 1 inch in as well for the lower part of the dress. So I'm going to be using a hermit to secure that part, so you can decide to stitch it however you want it to be. You go ahead. From there, fix your zipper, and then your dress will be ready. So don't forget to like, comment, and share my videos. Thanks for watching. See you another time. Bye.